Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We're going to be doing here a story about Glasgow City Council and how they've failed at everything, really. Because this is a council led by that most magnificent of creatures, Susan Two Seats Aitken, a woman for whom success is a mystery. Unless you count getting an all expenses paid trip to Dubai, first class, fully expensed, all at the public purse, in which case for her it's being a roaring success. But for everyone who lives in the city, things are not particularly good. Now, there is a headline associated with this piece, which we will look at in just a moment. But I don't think the headline does the story justice, because they're talking about how businesses are severely disappointed. I've got to say, only businesses? Let's have a look, see what's going on with Glasgow City Council under the very watchful eye of Susan Aitken, although she's only watching for the buffet cart to come around. Here goes. So, Glasgow businesses severely disappointed in Susan Aitken's SNP-run council. I think they're very severely disappointed in Susan Aitken. They're also very disappointed in the council. And I think it isn't just Glasgow businesses. I think it's everyone who lives in the city is severely disappointed with what's going on. People are saying perhaps things could get better. Perhaps if we weren't sending people off to Dubai for no reason, the money saved could do some good. Who knows? There's no reason for this woman to go there. Business class, quaffing champagne for her own benefit with the whole team. There's no reason for it. All that money wanked away, and yet it could go into doing something in the city. But of course it can't, because they've got so many debts, and that is why they brought in the low emission zone, not because of air quality, of course, as we know, purely to raise funds, but not even, and this is the thing, not even funds from those who can pay, but funds from the poorest, because obviously it's those who can't upgrade their cars, and so they're actually taxing the poor. And Glasgow businesses in the centre of the city, they've already reported falling footfall. So reduced custom, smaller takings. They're laying people off. There's some already thinking of moving out of the city centre. There's some who are thinking of just giving in and boarding up and going. This is how bad it's getting. But then what does Susan Aitken care? She's sitting there on a huge salary and her huge arse, raking it in and destroying the centre of Glasgow at the same time. Shops generally now are reporting falling footfall everywhere. It isn't just in the ULEZ zone, it's everywhere, because they've put rates up, they've changed this, they're doing that. Everything they're doing is anti-business. There she is. Look, I mean, she's even growing another spot of fat coming out the top of her eye because she can't walk past a Greggs. A snap poll asking Glasgow's businesses how they feel about the future of their ventures has revealed their frustration and severe disappointment. Questions asked at the State of the City Economy Conference in Glasgow showed 38% were less confident in the city's economic future compared to the same time last year. A survey said 27% said they have no more confidence. So that's what? 65% of people. 65% of businesses said life is not getting better. That is pretty low, isn't it? Local Tory councillor Thomas Kerr said, "This snap poll of Glaswegian businesses sums up their frustration and severe disappointment at the state of the city under Susan Aitken's SNP-led council." He accused the council of having a lack of ambition. Well, no, they've got a lot of ambition, just not any good. They're ambitiously sending two seats out to Dubai. They're ambitiously putting rates up. They're ambitiously putting council tax up. And it'll probably go up, even though Humza Yousaf says there's a freeze. Glasgow may already have put them up and will not abide by the freeze. This is the other thing that has come out recently. They're saying unless Humza Yousaf gives them the full, and I think they want 10% increase, which they're not likely to get, then the council tax will be going up anyway. Because, they all want to increase the salaries for the councillors. It's very important. Even though your services across the city are dying on their feet. But, they have this low emission zone so they can tax the poor. They're closing things down. They're making life very, very hard for everyone. And that affects businesses and the economy generally. But it's their own decisions that are doing it. And yet the people of Glasgow keep voting these fools in. What do they expect? A council spokesperson defended the other survey results as positive, citing 2/3 of those taking part in the poll said the city's economic prospects would either be the same or better next year. And that's only spinning the truth. The truth is 2/3 say it's not improving. And anyone in business will tell you that the key is growth. And if you're not growing, then you're stagnating or you're dying. And so their spin on it, oh, it's not getting any worse, said 2/3, is actually very disingenuous. Not improving is the important thing. Mr. Kerr told the Scottish Daily Express for nearly 2/3 of them to say they are less confident or no more optimistic about Glasgow's economic future is a damning verdict on the council's policies and their lack of ambition. And he's right. If you ain't growing, you're stagnating. Glasgow has so much potential, but it's being led by an out-of-touch SNP-led council who refuse to listen to the priorities of business. They refuse to listen to anyone. They don't listen. They have their agenda, and it doesn't matter what. They pretend, oh, let's do a consultation. But a consultation means people come and talk, and then the council ignore them and do what they were going to do anyway. That's how it works there. He said this poll must be an urgent wake-up call for Susan Aitken and her SNP colleagues to change their attitude toward Glasgow's businesses and outline a positive vision to boost our economy going forward. Well, that ain't going to happen, is it? That is never going to happen. Not when you've got a council led by her. SNP council leader Susan Aitken was only recently slapped down on social media after suggesting Scottish Labour were to blame for the deteriorating state of Glasgow, despite her party being in charge for 6 years. And that is without considering the SNP executive have been ruling Scotland for nearly 17. The city has also been at the centre of the low emission zone controversy that has many businesses blaming the car scheme for impacting access to the city centre and therefore access to their businesses. I mentioned that at the beginning. A Glasgow City Council spokesman said almost 2/3 of those taking part in the poll at the conference felt that the city's economic prospects would either be the same or better next year, and this is a positive finding. And by saying that shows he has got zero understanding of business or of economics. And therefore, he should not be in that position. That is a terrible indictment. The fact that you've got a guy standing there saying that and who knows nothing about business. Wow. Perhaps if people voted other people in, other parties in, people who weren't damaging, people who weren't Marxists, people who weren't constantly figuring out how to screw people over, life could possibly get better. But while you've got a woman whose only thought is her next meal and who's going to be paying for it, life ain't going to improve, is it? Stopping there, I'm coming up and we'll round off the video. But just take a look at that. Look at it. You know what that is? You know that is there in its hand. It's pretending it's got an ice cream. No economy will ever grow, no city will ever thrive, and no peoples will ever be happy while the SNP are controlling their lives. The SNP want to micromanage everything. And where they cannot manage and they cannot control, they simply want to destroy. They cannot abide anyone doing anything without them being involved and taking their cut. It's organised crime, really, isn't it? And so no wonder the businesses of Glasgow are worried about their future. Not when you've got old two seats sitting there driving forward council policy designed specifically to make things worse. I'll finish there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please tune in next time. We've got a lot of more videos to get through. So until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Goodbye.